we're recording now, so we can find out. This is the Wandering Monster podcast. I'm Tristan.
My name is Dylan.
That's right. We're going to roll dice to determine what page in the monster manual we're going to talk about. And then we're going to talk about fish monsters, water monsters, aquatic.
I'm definitely not going the fish route today. All right, let's roll it up. All right, we got 240, which looks like Oozes, which we actually already talked about recently.
Well,
but those are ones we made up.
Yeah, these are their Oozes.
Let's see the difference, right?
Yeah.
Basically. Oh, so these are the classics, right? You got the black pudding, the gelatinous cube, the gray ooze, which I don't really think it's
not really a classic. That's like baby's first ooze.
Yeah, the ochre jelly though is pretty normal.
Yeah, it's got the lightning thing. Classic.
Yeah.
I think the gelatinous cube is the ooze to which all oozes are compared.
Yeah, it's really the main one. So it's funny because it's like a pretty classic D&D monster, but like at the same time, it's like really hard to figure out how to fit one in unless you're just jamming it in.
Yeah, it's just. You can put an ooze in any dungeon that has been neglected.
Basically, yeah.
So, like, you could even have goblins and orcs, but if they don't pick up after themselves and they haven't been in a room in a couple months, boom, ooze. And then they don't go in there because now there's an ooze in there and it eats them.
Ooze doesn't require sleep. That's literally all they got on Ooze Nature. Fauna Jubilex. What is Demonomicon of Iglev? Oozes are scattered fragments or offspring of the demon lord Juiblex? I don't know how to pronounce that.
Jublex is the
Jublex.
It's in Mordekainen's Tomb of Foes. It's like the ooze demon lord.
Yeah.
Which is weird because that ooze is like, I'm pretty sure chaotic evil because it's a demon lord.
Yeah, usually are these all unaligned?
Yeah,
black unaligned. Yeah, they're just chilling. They're just kind of whatever.
Yeah, they have intelligences of 1, except for the ochre jelly, which has an intelligence of 2.
Ooh, fancy.
I think that's about as smart as the dinosaurs.
Yeah, they were not smart. They were not smart at all. These aren't, obviously, like, no charisma. You just kind of expect strength, constitution. They're not even fast, right? So no dex, no real wisdom.
Nope, they're basically just...
Where are these coming from? We got black pudding, pretty much what it says.
That's the worst one, I believe.
Yeah. Yes, armor class of 7. So, like, you basically can't miss it, but it's still challenge rating 4 because it's pretty dangerous. Slashing damage immunity, acid, cold, lightning immunity.
Well, not only immunity, if you deal slashing damage to it, it splits.
Right. Yeah.
And each ooze, its hit is only +5, and the damage is only 1d6 +3, but it comes with 4d8 acid damage.
Jeez.
And it destroys your non-magical armor.
So that's really horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, like, stuff like that I find to be really... it's really frustrating as a player. If you're, like, in a dungeon and you're not done with the dungeon and you lost all your armor.
Yeah, that's really nasty for a low-level fighter who spends their 1,000 gold pieces to get, like, plate.
They've been saving up a while, They just want to be hard to hit.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You have no armor now. Did you save your leather? No? Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, so so that one just seems, that's just dissolving, eating stuff. Pseudopod is the classic one. It's funny that it says it has spider climb, but like really it doesn't matter that it's spider climb. We just make it climb walls.
Yeah. And it can like go through cracks and all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty fun.
The gelatinous cube does not have all of those benefits. It's the one ooze that is really like a Jello. Yeah,
I've told you before, I think, that I've seen people use, like, actually, like, a piece of Jello as a mini for a gelatinous cube.
Oh, man, that is... Ugh. I'm just imagining, like, a piece of Jello with, like, hair and bits of whatever.
Well, you put minis in it.
Yeah. I tell you, I like how the gelatinous cube is transparent and it can hide in plain sight.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. That's not something I'd ever considered because I've always seen them be like blue or green in art because they can't just draw like a faint outline of a cube. They have to kind of show you that it's there. But I
Do you
really
think?
like that you can just hide stuff in it,
Yeah, you just be like, "There's a floating sword," and they're
or
like,
like
"What?"
or the MacGuffin of the quest line is just
Oh yeah, it's
you
like,
just see it, but it's floating around.
and maybe they're like, "That makes sense. It's a magic staff. Maybe it just does that." And
And they go over to
surprise,
try and grab it. You got him.
you could just have this thing in a 5x5 hallway, and then you don't describe it. You don't describe it as like there's stuff floating there, but you're like, there's some sort of membrane or layer of something that it seems like the color is a little bit off, and they're like, "Well, I'll touch it," and they're like, "Surprise! It's an ooze." It moves forward, like
I
they
got
think
you.
it's like a magic wall or something.
Yeah, like a force field or something like that. I it's it's funny because it actually doesn't have the slashing immunity, and this one can't split at all. The gelatinous cube. It's actually less challenging than the black pudding.
Oh yeah, no, the black pudding is like the real nasty one.
Yeah, yeah.
The gelatinous cube is relatively tame. I mean, armor class of 6. I don't think I've ever seen one that low before.
It's so low. No, these are so low. I mean, I think that's the main thing though. Is like you're really not supposed to. You don't want to be in a fight with these guys for too long because they're just corroding everything that you're holding and wearing.
Dude, these ones don't corrode your stuff. They just engulf you and kill you, I think.
Yeah, no, these don't just. This one doesn't. The gelatinous cube doesn't. The gray ooze can corrode metal, and then then the ochre jelly is just kind of.
Yeah, the gray
Ochre
ooze, I'm pretty sure is like you put it in, it eats your sword. Someone's like, "Whoa, that's cool. That's kind of interesting." More so than like a goblin.
A permanent and cumulative -1 penalty to rolls,
Yeah,
and if it goes to -5, it's destroyed. Oh
the ochre
man,
jelly gets used a lot in I think the Wizards of the Coast adventures.
yeah, the ochre jelly just seems like a much gentler black pudding, right? Like it can't eat you alive. It will split, so it's at least has some variety to it, but it's not super dangerous.
Yeah,
It's
and I
only 10
think
foot speed too, so like it's just kind of
it's very slow, and it does that thing. I think that yeah, splitting is one of those things you kind of expect an ooze to do,
right.
and so it does hit those like I don't want to say narrative, but it hits your expectations of like, oh, I outwitted this thing. Don't use slashing. You'll have 2 oozes.
Right. Yeah, like I think it's and for new players, it lets you learn that like certain things are kind of weird and funky. You need to pay attention. You can't just wail on every enemy you encounter with everything you have. Your best attacks aren't always your best option.
Mm-hmm. Do you see the variant psychic gray ooze
I
on
did
the?
see that. I did. We hadn't gone through that yet because I wanted to actually look at the gray ooze. It really seems like most of it's just the corrode metal.
Yeah,
Is kind of its only exciting thing.
and it can look like a wet rock. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Or an oily pool. It has 2 of our ideas from the ooze section we did.
It's not as I just feel like they could have gone much farther with it. So the psychic one, what is it's just smart and just vaguely smarter.
It can just crush people with its mind.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I guess psychic damage. That's a weird step up. Like what? Like this thing is a weird thing to take from 1/2 CR to I would imagine CR2 or something.
I think that's probably trying to get into the demon stuff, because like and that sounds more demonic than just like it just kind of melts your sword.
That's true.
This is sort of the more like ooh it's connected to an intelligence kind of thing, but yeah, I don't know. I like the black pudding a lot. I think that's a fun one. It's pretty dangerous, but I feel like the black pudding, like the art for the black pudding, shows it like eating. What is this?
I think it's an ogre.
Oh, maybe yeah. It's like eating an ogre. I feel like that'd be a great way to introduce it. Is like show it just completely bodying like a pretty hard enemy,
Mm-hmm.
and then have the party show up and they have to get past it. So like they know everything that it's about the first time they see it, but they're just still like they have to keep going. Like that's fun.
You like put it in a big room,
Yeah.
and then it's like, all right, sneak past the ooze, or you see it and then it leaves, and you know it's in the dungeon somewhere.
Yeah. But you've seen it eat something.
Yeah, I'm surprised they don't have anything here that really does the blob, where it eats and gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But
Yeah, that would be cool.
I'm guessing that would be hard to show because most of these monsters show up and you fight it and you're done. And if in order to do that, it needs to eat something.
Yeah.
So you need to see that.
I think that could be a cool variant on the black pudding. You know?
Yeah,
because that's kind of like a what is it from Cthulhu? It's like a Shoggoth or something.
I don't know. I'm thinking of like the 1960s.
Oh no, I know, but like I think like for a variant of that, you need one of the ones that's like a little bit more wily and can get out there, you know, spider climbing around, you know, doing all that stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty happy with those. They're not too exciting. The which one was that? It's not Xanathar's. Mordenkainen's has like a ton of really cool oozes.
Oh, it has the what is it called? Like it's the sulfur one. It's not Jubilex, is it? That's the Demon Lord.
Yeah, that no. But there's a couple other ones. Like the one that has like a fake person attached to it.
Yeah.
That one I really like. Should we roll again?
Yeah,
Keep going. But what we got? That's definitely not a page. 397 is far too much.
Yep.
So what do we got? 144.
144.
I think that's in the genies.
Oh, we got genies. Do you want to re-roll genies because there's too many genies?
There might be too many genies. Let's do that. Yeah. What do we got?
There's too many genies up here.
305 Yetis?
There's
only a couple Yetis, I think.
We've already done the Yetis, though.
We've already done the Yetis?
You don't remember doing the Yetis?
Oh, my God. All right. We got 34.
34. Okay.
The Bullet.
Ooh.
They're pretty interesting.
They are.
I've used these in Pathfinder. I've never used a 5e.
I've also never used one of these. This definitely strikes me as like you're traveling somewhere, you have a table, you roll, oh look, it's a boulette. Time to deal with a land shark.
This one looks pretty crazy. It does very much look like a kind of like land shark.
It even says on like the second sentence,
also
land
called shark. Yeah.
a land shark. So for the reader, this is basically, I would take like a rhino body and then I'd give him mole claws instead of hooves, and then I would replace his face with a gigantic troughed shark face.
Yeah, it's like in between like a shark and like some kind of giant pelican bird thing.
Or I like to think of it as like, what's that construction equipment that you use to pick up big things of dirt?
I know what you're talking about, but
that's this guy's face.
It's got like this ablative plate armor, and it's always so it like starts underground, right?
Yeah,
tunneling through the earth, uproot trees, cause landslides. So they sort of like they rumble through the ground, so you're not really gonna miss it. I think it's a wandering monster.
It is.
Name drop.
Branding.
Temperate lands. You know what's interesting? Because I almost see this like being useful in like a desert setting too.
Because I'm guessing because sand makes the most sense to burrow through.
But like at the same time, it seems like they actually form full-on tunnels that you might run across. So they don't like dwarves or elves.
But they'll kill them anyway and be like, whoops.
Halfling meat is the tastiest, apparently.
That makes sense to me. I can see that.
Roams a hunting territory up to 30 miles wide. Yeah, so this is definitely a random encounter.
Yeah, it's... I can't see you being like, this is the bullet lair. It's like, no, they don't really have those. They just sleep wherever.
Yeah, and it's pretty much just a stupid feeding machine. Just wants to eat. Arcane creation. That's interesting. Crossbreeding snapping turtles and armadillos with demon ichor by wizards.
Those dang wizards. Making manticores and owlbears and bullets.
I think this one's pretty dangerous, but I think that of those options, this is the least scary of those.
Yeah, it probably was fine until they added demon blood.
Right. Yeah, that does seem to be the extra secret sauce.
Yeah.
So 30-foot jump, high jump up to 15 feet with or without a running start. So it's just like It's all over you. It's all over the place.
Yeah,
Got a
it just
lot of health and a lot of armor, especially for a CR5.
you cannot hide from it either. It has tremor sense.
Yeah,
It
Tremor
knows
says
where you
16.
are.
Passive perception 16. Yeah, no, I mean it's gonna find you. Melee attack 4d12 plus 4 piercing with its bite. Man.
Ugh.
Yeah, and like it's got
4d12.
if it jumps at least 15 feet, it can use its action to land on its feet and just smash you.
Knock everybody prone. Hit them pretty hard.
Oh, because it's large, so yeah, it can just like blast into the whole
It
space
can AOE your party.
for a lot. 3d6 plus 1 plus 3d6 bludgeoning and slashing.
Yeah, this guy seems to me like the worst case scenario on a random monster table.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, because it's like it's one of those things where usually in an encounter you want to have like around the same number of people or creatures as the party to keep things
Interesting and
interesting.
balanced.
This is definitely one of the ones where you're just like, this is a one off.
Here's a bullet. I hope
just
you
one.
guys are okay.
Yeah, like somebody like a rogue or somebody that can kind of make these checks or uncannily dodge or something might be okay with that, but
I mean, they're
geez,
still
that's a lot
taking
of
half damage, and the bullet doesn't. There's no cooldown on this leap ability. It's just
Oh
like,
yeah,
I'm
that's
on
just what
you.
it does.
Oh, you made the save. You're still taking like probably 14 damage because you take half,
Yeah.
and I'm coming at you next turn.
Well, and it can burrow 40 feet, so if it gets in trouble, it can just leave. It's one of those creatures.
That's true. This doesn't strike me as a monster that would come back. I feel like it leaves and it says, "I just roam over 30 miles. I'll go find a deer or something, whatever." So
Yeah, that's
I
one thing I want to see. So, yeah, terrorizing them until they fled or until the bullet's slain. So, it seems like it basically is just looking for food, but if it's too much work, I don't see why it wouldn't leave.
Well, I mean, I
There's no
don't know if
taste.
it even eats. It doesn't eat dwarf and elves, or at least it might eat them, but it might be like, this
This
sucks.
this wasn't very good. I'm not a fan. Yeah, this is a kind of a bombastic random encounter because it seems like okay, you're walking through the woods, you hear some rumblings, everybody's trying to perceive, nobody really has a good sense for it, and just like blasts out of the ground, just AoE's the party. All
I'm willing
right,
to bet the party stands together too, like they form a little pack,
yeah, and tries to like look around in every direction.
and then surprise, it's a shark.
It's a land shark. Yeah, that's a fun one. I like this. I like kind of the surprise attack, jump leap, just destroy you with the AOE.
Do you use? So how often do you bust out a random encounter table?
Pretty rarely. I don't generally. What I'll do sometimes is I'll go through a book and pick like a few options that fit the biome that the party's traveling through.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Usually I try to keep everything at least vaguely story related. So if it's a random encounter, it's going to be like some faction they've encountered or some creature created by somebody that they've heard of. I like to always push towards the story of whatever's going on.
That's fair.
Um, the only time I would do something like that would be if it's a really long journey, like if they're crossing a desert, right? Then I'm going to throw in some weird desert stuff.
Just so they can say, "Remember our adventure in the desert with the desert stuff."
Yeah, instead of just like, okay, you guys walk for a week, nothing interesting happens. But I tend to not just pull out these random creatures as much.
I have a love-hate relationship with these things because I think that random encounters do a great job of making the party feel the distance they're going, that it makes your world feel dangerous, and it's like, oh, getting to the dungeon itself is like a mini adventure. And also when they're like going outside to rest or something like that, it's nice to sort of put a little bit of fire under their butts and say like, hey, we need to keep moving. But on the other hand, whenever we do roll, I pretty much always hope that there's no encounter because I want to keep going. I want the party to feel like, wow, we sure got lucky. We didn't have to fight a manticore in the forest.
I agree with that for sure. I want things to to keep going and keep pace up. That tends to be why I don't go for them. The other thing is too, like once you've established that the world is dangerous, the party will usually develop skills to just completely ignore encounters. Like they'll take some spells that just like hide their camp, or like there's some warlock spell that's just like a bubble, camouflage bubble that nobody
Ooh,
can get into.
yeah.
Like that's like there's no point unless you can convince people to leave the magic safety bubble. Then you're not going to have an encounter, right? So you can make like a nighttime, encounter happen, but it has to be very exciting and very intriguing, and they have to like go and find it themselves. Because
Yeah.
after a certain point, usually they're going to be like, okay, we hired mercenaries to guard our camp, or we have all these spells that make it so it's basically impossible for anything to locate us unless we go out and find it. But yeah, like just wandering through the woods or something. I'll sometimes throw something out there.
Yeah. I know that the Storm King's Thunder adventure that we did, they have a lot of really stupid random encounters. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you remember when you guys were like walking through the tundra and you rolled on the random encounter table and it's like you see 12 reindeer?
Yeah. Yeah, where it's not like a combat or story encounter. It's just like there are some creatures in the woods.
Yeah, and there's not much you can do about it. I mean, I guess you could go crazy and murder them, but
Just
just
like
sort of
hunting
there.
or something. Yeah. I do really like random encounters that are just like an NPC. Like I use stuff like that a fair amount, where like they'll be wandering through and there's like a wandering trader who has like a very specific strange subset of items and is willing to
Yeah.
make a deal with them, or like tell them about something interesting nearby. Or they find, like an overturned cart and like an injured guy, and he's like, "Oh, I was attacked by some bandits over there." Stuff like that is cool. I have more fun with that than just with like throwing the party right into combat.
Yeah, I think one thing that you could do to make random encounters more interesting is you attach a tangible reward to them. So, for example, a lot of times it'll just be like you get ambushed by 6 goblins, and then they kill the goblins, and when the fight's over, you sort of mentally give them experience, but I don't know, maybe not. Who does experience anymore? And
Yeah.
you just said like, they've got 12 gold. But if you threw a boulette at them and you mentally noted down before, but there's like a magic sword in its stomach, suddenly you kind of want to throw the boulette at them because they can get the magic sword out of it when they kill
That's
it.
cool. The other thing I've done in the past is kind of do like a monster hunter type thing, where with like creatures like this, or anything with like big crazy teeth or something, I'll let them know that like they have, if they want to spend the time, they could harvest like one of its like armor plates or one of its like teeth to
Oh
try and like
yeah,
make a weapon out of later. And
like
like I'll basically, you make it so that there's a time element to it where it they have to go find a craftsman, or if they're a good craftsman, they can spend time resting and build it, and just it'll be a more interesting like dagger or a shield or whatever.
yeah, I think the boulette is a great example of a monster you could probably turn into something cool.
Yeah. Oh, like some type of cool plate mail or something made out
Yeah.
of its weird shell. Yeah.
Whenever I have people harvesting monster parts, what I used to do and what I see a lot is they make you do like a nature roll. But now I kind of feel like it should just be you can get it. It's dead.
Yeah.
Um
I've done survival to see kind of the quality of the piece. If they have enough to like, if they can harvest enough to make like armor versus a shield versus just like a gauntlet or something. You
I
know?
could see that. Like I could see that pretty effectively for like a gland that you're trying to get like an antidote from.
Yeah. But yeah,
If it
it's
were
like,
like
oh,
teeth, I would say worst case scenario, you just cut out a big chunk of this guy's mouth, and you have
yeah.
to carry around a big fleshy thing on the end until you can get someone who knows what they're doing to take care of it.
Exactly. Or yeah, and like what you just said with the gland thing, like any creature with poison, totally great option for that. Where it's dangerous to get it, and if you roll badly, you poison yourself. Like that's it. Sorry, guys, but if you do get it, you can go like extract poison out of it from some kind of druid shaman thing in town.
I wonder if you could make a thing where it's like a monster that breathes fire, and if you can extract its fire gland, you have like a little mini flamethrower until it
like a
runs out.
like a single use or like a couple use little flamethrower thing. That
Yeah.
would be fun, and it couldn't possibly be as powerful, right? But like you give it like half power or half range.
Well, it depends on what. Like, if it's like an ancient blue dragon, probably
Yeah.
shouldn't give that to your party because it invalidates a lot of encounters.
Yep.
Yeah, which is a reference to Storm King's Thunder, where I at one point gave the party a potion that gave them the ancient blue dragon breath. That deals over 100 damage. That was a mistake.
Hey, and there's always a learning opportunity.
Yeah.
All right, are you ready to go with aquatic creature?
I am, and I think I go first this time.
You do, because it was my theme.
So I'm gonna do what I typically do, where I tell you about my failed idea.
Yeah, I have one of those as well.
Great.
I have one of those as well.
So I didn't want to do ocean because I wanted to have an aquatic monster that you could just fight whenever. Like you're walking in a forest, there's a stream, boom, aquatic encounter, right?
Same thing. What I was thinking. I wanted it to be available on the ocean, but not exclusive.
So
because you don't fight on the ocean that much.
No, you basically do one encounter, and then after that, everyone's like, I really just want to get to where we're going.
Yeah, or it's pirates, and then it's like a whole other thing.
Oh, look, it's bandits in a boat.
Boat bandits.
Never fought those before, but so I was thinking, what are some interesting things that you could use? And I immediately thought of the Irish Kelpie.
Oh yeah,
which
those are pretty classic.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of different variations of this. The one that I was thinking of is like an evil water muck horse that walks onto land. It can kind of charm you, and it makes you hop on its back or touch it. You get stuck to it, you can't get off of it, and then it walks into the water and drowns you.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
And that, I thought like, oh, that'd be really cool. So I was like looking stuff up. I wanted to make sure I had the name right. I wanted to make sure that I had all this stuff down for the Irish Kelpie. And there's some like, it can turn into a woman in some stories, but I didn't want to leave
because it sounds kind of like a siren type thing, where...
Yeah, but it's just a sick horse.
It's just like, it's so cool. You want to ride it.
Yeah.
It just drowns you.
Yeah. And it's like, you could lean into like, it looks kind of like a normal horse, but once you get too close to and get on it, you realize, oh, its eyes are like they're like moving a little bit, like they're sinking in its face, or it just seems filthy once you start to pay attention.
It's a little slimy.
Yeah. It's like a little eldritchy, but it's really just an evil swamp horse.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, that sounds like a pretty cool one. I'll do that. And then I figured this actually is so well known that it might actually be in one of the books.
Yeah.
So I looked it up, and it's not in one of the books, but it has been done to death by people who basically are like, this is a good monster, this should be in the book. You can find stat blocks. If you just put in D&D 5th edition Kelpie, you will...
There's stuff like this all over.
It's all over, and it's good. It's exactly what I would have done. So I figured I shouldn't just retread with that. That'd be kind of cheap.
It's fine.
So instead, I stole a different Kelpie. Do you remember Lorwyn set?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
From Magic: The Gathering, Kelpies in the Lorwyn set were these fat blobs with a bunch of teeth and a bunch of hair.
Yeah.
And they basically like lived at the bottom of a stream, and they didn't have a lot of cards for them, but they were these hideous hippo looking creatures. And I thought those could work pretty well because you could sort of treat it like a mini Kraken encounter. If the party gets on a boat or they just get too close to the water, this thing, it can like ram the boat and knock everyone overboard, knock all their stuff overboard. Yeah. And now they're fighting in the water, in the muck. They have limited movement. There's this creature that has probably partial concealment because it can move around underwater. I wouldn't give it like a swallow attack unless you're up against... Like, if you're a halfling, maybe you could make that a roll where it can do that against gnomes and halflings and stuff.
Well, it actually sounds like you don't even want it to be like all that dangerous in combat. It's more that it puts you in a really disadvantageous situation.
Yeah.
So like it's much harder than it would be if you were fighting it on land, but because of its like environment, it becomes more difficult.
I would say that would be a great way to put it. That it's sort of it really gets you in its territory and it has a huge advantage.
Yeah.
You would probably have this being a thing where people are taking a road to get to another town, even though there's a perfectly good stream or river. And when they say, "Why can't we take that?" they say, "Oh, there's these horrible kelpies that'll ram your boat and then eat you in the water."
Yeah. Yeah.
And we just can't hunt them because if a boat that has too many people shows up, they just don't attack it. They just stay under. They're like crocodiles that are also mammalian.
They're smart enough to be able to assess the threat level, and
Yeah.
if the threat level is too high, they don't even come up.
Yeah, and they're not very bright. They're just smart enough.
Just enough.
But I definitely like they ram your boat, and if it's anything that's like you could come up with a size for it, but if it's anything that's something that you would have on a small stream or a small river, it's probably going to tip over.
Like a canoe or a little rowboat or something.
Definitely. Absolutely, those would flip. I could even see like a 20-foot long boat with trading goods on it.
Yeah.
Getting knocked over.
Like a riverboat type thing.
Yeah. And if maybe all they want to do is knock your boat over, and if you've got good food in there, they just eat that instead.
And they don't even really like attack you.
Yeah. They're just like, well, all our silks are destroyed. All of the food we were bringing is destroyed. The gems are lost. All our gold fell in the water. And meanwhile, there's a kelpie. He's just eating the dried bacon you had.
See, what I love about that too is there's great opportunities for like a quest line where you're like the party just has to protect a boat that's shipping goods from one place to another.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good. Maybe.
And they're not like totally upfront with why they need help. You know, there's like, just come with us. Not a big deal. We just, it's pretty expensive goods. We just need your help. Just come help us out, defend our boat. And then it gets flipped by a couple of these things. They steal all the stuff. The party and whoever was like the captain of the boat get back onto shore halfway there, and the party's like, "What the heck was this?" And the guy's like, "You didn't help us at all. You didn't do your job."
So I have two good ideas for that. And one is that one of the party members has like a flute or something. Maybe their job is to like beat their spear against the bottom of the boat to make it sound like there's more people on board.
Oh.
And the second they stop for any reason, you're getting kelpied and this is your fault.
You know what's pretty funny? That's the idea I had for my failed idea, was that you have to keep hitting the boat. Because otherwise they'll attack you. And I was just like, this is just annoying because the outcome of that is always going to be, okay, who's going to beat the boat for like 8 hours? Who's the next person? Who's the next person? As long as you have 3 people in the party, or even just 2 people and an NPC that is willing to do it, there's no problem anymore.
Yeah,
it's annoying. It would be annoying in reality, but because of the way D&D functions and the time compression of it, it doesn't matter. So
I mean, you could have this information come from a dubious source, so that they'll do it for an hour, and then eventually you can even say like, listen, you've been beating the boat for 8 hours. You're gonna have a point of exhaustion tomorrow. You're tired.
Right.
And they'll say like, I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. I think this is BS. And then surprise, it's your monster.
Or like it prevents people from sleeping on the boat. Or like the party goes through their rotation and then you let an NPC do it and he's like, this is stupid. He just doesn't pay attention and he's like, it's probably fine.
Yeah.
He's screwed the party over.
I like that a lot.
So that would be funny because like then the whole rest of the party's the whole party's resting. They hear him beating the boat for a while. He stops beating the boat. The whole party's like, oh no. They like run up onto the upper deck and then the boat's flipping over. Too late.
Yeah, that's pretty good. The I like the idea for this too is they're hired to protect the boat from Kelpie because their employers are like smugglers or something, or they're just lazy. They don't want to pay road taxes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like they're trying to just sneak stuff around. They don't want to deal with the roads.
And the entirety of this adventure is literally just, well, now you're halfway between these two sounds in these unsafe wilds. Just get back to one of them.
Right. And also like now they have this weird debt to whoever the smuggler was that hired them.
Because they messed up. They didn't protect the goods.
Yeah.
That
sounds like a good like intro quest, like to get a party together and get going.
And I would probably want these guys to be like CR3 or 4. So you would probably just have them take the bacon or whatever and
Right.
leave. But in the
Yeah,
future,
yeah.
if there's no bacon, they could attack the party and be really tough to hit if you're not prepared. Like wizards are going to be useless against these things.
Oh yeah.
Archers are going to be useless against these things. Fighters are going to be doing everything at disadvantage because they have to go underwater to hit them.
Right.
But the other idea I had for these was maybe if you had a small boat, they could like plant themselves on the front and like tip the boat and try and pull everything towards them. But I thought that would be too difficult. Like, unless you give them some sort of like reach attack, like a, I don't know, like a tentacle or like a big claw or something, they're just gonna get shot at while people make their strength saves. I mean, it would be creepy if it had these huge arms that are just like clawing up there, trying to get you, shoveling stuff downwards. But
yeah, no, I'm that isn't as exciting. I think yeah, because a small enough boat, they're going to be able to capsize easily, and it could just be like one of them just throws you over.
Yeah, I definitely like that.
Have like
capsizing the boat.
It should have like a really like distinctive sound that it makes.
I would give it like a hippo noise, like a, I don't know, but like
something fun,
some sort of hippo noise that it sounds higher pitched than you would think, but also very menacing, and there's like a lot of force behind it.
Yeah, cool.
Tell me about your failed monster and then your real monster.
So my failed monster is so stupid. So it had the boat beating, right? Or they had to beat the boat to, make it sound like it wasn't this thing.
Yeah.
So it's basically like a cross between like a squid and a barnacle, except that it drills a hole into whatever it's attaching to. So anything that doesn't make noise, it'll just attach to, drill a hole in it, and then sink your boat.
So it's like one of those lampreys that attach to a fish and then like suck out all its guts. But it does that to your boat.
It does that to your boat. And like it's not like fun at all. It just sinks your boat and it sucks. Yeah. So like pretty much immediately I was like, this is dumb. I don't know what to do with this. Like you could use it, but it's not. It kind of makes you into that DM where you're just like, I'm screwing over the party just to do it.
Your boat is sunk.
Your boat's like, take that party trying to travel around by boat.
You should have paid the dragon.
Yeah, pretty much immediately that's a stupid idea. And then I was thinking again, like, I wanted to have more variety than this, because you could maybe do this in like a pretty deep river, but it's typically going to be the ocean.
Yeah.
So I was thinking like I wanted something that could even be like puddles or like a fountain or like any pool of water anywhere.
All right.
Somebody has like a bathtub. This could be in it, and you just like you don't know.
What
so the idea I had, I love doppelgangers, but I don't like that they have to be they have this like weird like half form where they're like kind of humanoid but like creepy and
they're
just
like
kind of gray.
They're like a blue. They're like a blue, shiny, multicolored, wacky person.
Yeah, but like it's like the generic like gray alien man, just like has no facial features or anything. So I was thinking like, what would be kind of a weird magical variant on that? I was thinking the whole point of this thing is that it makes water very clear, like very still.
Uh-huh.
So if you're like, if you have like a pool of water next to you, like, or it was raining the night before and you wake up in the morning and there's pools of water around, you'll often see them like, fluttering around a little bit with waves from wind or something, but there will be a pool that's like completely still.
Okay.
And so that's kind of the hook, is like that pool of water is like too still. And the party's like, well, we got to check that out. And so they wander over, they look into it. They're like, it picks one of the party members and like it just takes the water and becomes them.
What? That's
so it's like
cool.
It's like a doppelganger, but it just like forms out of water. That's very still.
That sounds pretty neat.
And the thing is, you could do this on the ocean because like they could be, gliding along at night, the waves start to calm, and then like the water is like too still, so they look off the side of the boat. Boom, doppelgangered. They got you.
Can I add like a maybe like a flavor thing for this?
Oh yeah.
If it's deep water, what if the doppelganger reaches out of the water? Like it's the top half of that person. If it's deep enough, it pulls them in, and now you don't know which one is which. and they
Absolutely.
both
No,
come
like
out.
that's fully something I want to do with where like yeah, like they like you're staring over the side of like a big boat and like this like just like arm like reaches up and it's your arm and it just pulls you into the water. So that people have a chance to be like, "Oh no." But then there's like two of them swimming in the water like fighting. You have to pick.
They're both trying to drown each other. It's just like get
Yeah,
down.
exactly.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
what.
I like that it could kind of show up anywhere, and it could be like you're in a town with a fountain, and like the water is too still, even though there's water running into it, and everybody's like, "What the heck is this?" And it could even be just like an NPC that wanders over and looks in the fountain and comes out, and then now the party has to deal with it.
Or is the doppelganger? Is it like evil? Does it basically say I want to kill you and take your identity for a little bit, or is it just sort of like, well, there can only be one, I'm afraid.
That's typically the doppelganger thing, is that like it wants to take over for them. The thing is, I'm not like I don't have like a force for like where this is even coming from. Because I think the way you could use it, it would be like, super evil thing is doing this and like setting these out, putting them in water around,
Yeah, I,
poisoning the well.
I like the idea of because the water is very even that it's your reflection and not just the
Yeah. Oh
water
no,
that
it
does
has
it.
to be. Yeah, you have to look into it. Like it doesn't just happen. So like once you learn about that, you start to avoid like really clear water. But then that's where you leave it up to NPCs to go look into it
Yeah.
because they don't know better.
Could
So it's
you
still a threat even once you learn the secret.
would you ever do anything where if it gets them into the water, it like can like banish them to it for an hour or something, where now they're trapped in the puddle of water and they're like,
Yeah, see that could be really cool. Like if it gets a hold of you for long enough, or yeah, like you give it like a grapple or something, and if it can hold you, it can put you back in the water. And then like I don't know, there'd have to be some type of bring you out of like a greater restoration or something because now you're a pool of water.
you could do something where so you could do I don't know if your idea was like the water itself is evil, it's the doppelganger, or if there's like you get trapped in this weird mirror dimension.
That's
But
see, that's kind of what I was thinking is that like they are in, yeah, it's like a mirror. So like
okay,
when you're looking into it, you're not seeing your reflection, you're just seeing them. And so if somebody was trapped into it, you probably wouldn't see yourself, you would just see them. And they'd be like banging on the wall of it, like trying to get out.
you could do a thing where maybe the motivation of these doppelgangers is that like a long time ago some demon trapped 100 of them in this mirror dimension, like they just died, they were gone from the real
Yeah.
world. And then it could be when like every year your character needs to make a wisdom saving throw, and it could be like one of the nine hells where you can just suffer an alignment change.
Right,
And
right.
then after you've been there for so long, you're like, listen, I got robbed of my life. I just want to get out. I want it back. So when you swap places with someone, you put them back in the thing, you're like, all right, I guess
They're
I'm,
allowed so they can escape. That's the only way that they get out.
yeah,
They,
they're
they
like, I
put
guess
somebody
I'm
else in there.
Brognar the Barbarian now, but I'll roll with it. I'll be the barbarian, but it beats the me or whatever, and I'm not going back.
I like that. I like that a lot. Where it's like, yeah, they're in the mirror dimension, but they can only leave if they replace themselves
Yeah.
in that space.
And they don't want to get put back, so they have to play along, and they have to be like, no, guys, let's not go near that water. Let's let's just, or they try and get other party members to look in so that they can get a whole party of
Oh
replaced
yeah,
people.
or their buddy. They got to get their buddy out.
Let's go check out that fountain over there, man.
That's pretty good. I like that a lot. Hey guys, have you seen this?
Although you would probably want just a way out once you're in there, so that
Right.
or you make it so difficult to get trapped that you basically would have died to something else anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think, yeah. If deep of the mirror dimension,
You,
why it exists.
you broke up there.
Oh, I'm thinking if you use this mirror dimension thing, like you have to go into the deep lore. You got to get really in depth with why it's there, who's there, like
Who's trapped in it?
set that population right of who's stuck there.
You could make it a portal to Limbo, and then you don't even really need to like. I think Limbo it just sucks there all the time,
Yeah,
and
nobody
everyone's
wants to
trying to
be
get
there.
out. Because
Yeah,
I think in D&D Limbo is like, or no, is that Pandemonium? It's like a howling maze of crap.
yeah. I don't know which one it is, but yeah, it kind of makes sense that this would almost be like a certain type of demon that is able to do this transformation to get out, and they are just strong enough to escape for a short time. And if they can sneak somebody back into it, then they can get away.
Yeah,
Nobody will notice.
I do like that. That is a pretty good one.
The other thing I thought about with this though is that like I don't tend to use weather that much in D&D, and I feel like I should.
Like
Like it
it's
should rain.
yeah,
It should rain sometimes. There should be like a windstorm. I've done that in certain areas where like this is the place where it snows. This is the place where it's nice out. This is the place where it's hot, you know. Where like there's not good seasons.
yeah.
My current campaign, I have one player who's keeping track of. I wrote up a calendar with seasons,
Uh huh.
and so he's keeping track of it because he likes to journal for his character.
That's neat.
So like I think we're almost done with spring, and then we're gonna get into summer, and so stuff's gonna change a little bit. It should be interesting.
Yeah, that would be a good. I mean, this is a good way to make sure that you are making it rain sometimes, at least.
Yeah, yeah, just like it gives you a purpose. It's not just like it's raining just for fun, but like it actually matters because now there's puddles around, and you might get sucked into the shadow realm.
Yeah. Are there any like aquatic planes of hell? I know there's ice ones.
I don't know actually.
I bet. I mean, you could make one. That would be. I'm surprised there isn't some sort of horrible aquatic hell plane.
Let's see. 5e aquatic hell. Aquatic hell. What do we got? 9 hells.
I don't think you're gonna find any. There might be a marsh one. That would be a good one.
Yeah. Mineros. Endless vile bog. Pollution, decaying bodies, rotting marsh. Most of the rest of them are pretty much like lava, desert, death,
Cold.
decay, more lava. Yeah, a lot of ice ones.
The
More lava.
the kelpie could be from the bog hell plane.
Yeah,
that would
be
make
cool.
a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
serpentine ridges of volcanic rock. It's still volcanic, but it's
It's less seas of fire and more it was
Yes.
it was seas of fire. Now
It's
just,
like pestilence as like one of the 4 horsemen.
yeah. What would you do for the stats of these guys? Would you mimic the stats of the person they took?
Well, so that's one thing I think I like. I like that the doppelganger kind of always has a bonus.
He just slams
built in.
it out with his fists all day.
Either that or, if they are like kind of demons from this weird demi-plane, maybe they can manifest everything that person has. Maybe they can't do that until they touch them or something, So it like gives there's a window to it. But yeah, I mean, it's fun to just copy the character sheet. Exactly. They get like all their abilities and something.
All their
That'd be really
spells.
dangerous.
Yeah.
Right. But it's still like that'd be a cool way to do this where this is like really you don't want to get anywhere near. You see this water. it's a problem.
I think it would make sense to give them all of the like physical stats of the person they took, so their AC, their hit points.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, maybe that would even be too strong cuz like what if like Roland the Barbarian got copied by one of these guys? The world is over, There's even one of those now. So maybe I would just go with like the doppelganger route.
Yeah,
give him a couple spells. Maybe you give him like a suggestion or a charm.
See, yeah, that would be a cool variant on it, where it's like they're a little bit more dangerous than doppelgangers, but they're also like more obvious because like you have to do something to initiate this. It's not like it's just you turn around a corner, you see a weird jelly man, and then it turns into you.
Or no, well, doppelgangers, they walk up and they're like, "Hey guys, it's me, your friend Paul," and they're like, "Your name is Dan," and he says, "Slam attack, sucker punch."
Gotcha. It was a trick all along. Yeah, I mean, I've seen him used different ways, but yeah, I like that this is like they're just waiting, and if you look too long into it looks back at you and gets you.
I do like that a lot. You could have it where they go to a place where like everything's really still and they're super paranoid.
They have to have seen first, but it's like this is like a cave lake where there's no wind.
Oh yeah,
so you can't.
It's
obviously very still.
I like that one a lot. That's I think that's better than my fat hippo.
It's okay. I, I I think that if you made those on like a specific area of land, like it's like some river that people want to like, it's like a Mississippi River type thing where it's people want to travel it, but they can't. It's really effective.
Yeah, and then the party they get hired to do it or something. So
Yeah, go clear them out, but it's just awful. It's just so terrible to try and kill them. Yeah,
yeah, that'd be pretty. I guess it's my turn to come up with a new theme for next
yeah.
week, huh? So my theme is breath weapon.
Breath weapon.
It's got to have a breath weapon,
Gotta have a breath weapon. Yeah,
like the Yeti.
I assume we'll be going a little off course with what kind of stuff we're doing.
Probably, probably not dragons.
Yeah, you don't want to do a dragon. Dragon's the easy way out.
It's easy. We've already rolled dragons and we said no thanks.
No, just dungeons. Only dungeons here.
At a certain point, though, we could do dragons. I mean, we're getting around to this is episode 8, I think.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah,
we're gonna be
going
due.
for it.
We could just talk about like whatever color we land on, if it's green or
Yeah.
red or whatever.
That we could do. We
Yeah.
could just do a color roll. See what we got.
It's inevitable. I mean, at this point,
Someday.
there's like 50 pages of dragons. I'm surprised we've only gotten them once.
We gotten 2 duplicates, right? Yetis and something else last time.
We have rolled on genies before too, but on the
Yeah.
second go.
Yeah. Someday we'll do those too.
Yeah. Well, thanks for recording, and I'll see you next
Yeah.
week.
See ya.